All right, in today's video, we are going to be discussing what is the best hydration pack for running. Now, if you're like me, you've tried vests before, and after that honeymoon period, you've had it for a few runs or a few months or maybe even a race or two, you end up finding something that doesn't quite work for you. It's whether it's the way that it holds water or doesn't hold water. It may not be easy to access things. You start to notice that it rubs or chafes in a certain area. Or it just doesn't fit like you like, and you end up having to go buy a new pack. And so you want to know what is the best pack that is going to get you through the miles, whether you're running, a half marathon, marathon, or an ultra marathon, or just out for long trail runs. And believe me, I know. I've tried Osprey. I've tried Solomon. I've even tried Arc'teryx. And after a while, every single one of them, I found something that just doesn't quite work for me. But I think I finally found the best pack, so stay tuned.
I will be the last to fall.
All right, cowboys and cowgirls, so what is the best hydration pack that I've found so far? And I'll tell you what it is. It's from a company that's maybe not as well known as some of the other brands. Been around for several years now, and it is Orange Mud. And for me, it is the HydroQuiver Vest Pack 2. So the big thing that is, what makes this the best for me is it does not use a hydration bladder. There is no bladder involved. It is a water bottle based solution. And that is really what got me to try this. So the reason I'm getting away from water bladders is, some of the other packs that I've liked, they've been comfortable, they fit okay. But one of the biggest flaws I've had with them is when I've really had to go long distances and there was not either, it was unsupported on a really long trail run or like the I'm Tough. Some of those aid stations were like 12 to almost 14 miles apart. And so it was going to take hours in between aid stations. So 1 liter of water for me wasn't going to do it. And so I had my Arc'teryx Northern 14, which has plenty of space. It fits well. It's been a great pack for me. But when I had the water bladder in there, by like mile 30, all of these water bladders that I've ever used have had a little plastic clip that slides across the top. So it's got this little clip that slides across the top. Anyways, it slides across the top to seal your water inside of the bladder so it doesn't leak out. Well, the problem is no matter which pack I've ever used, when it's had that bladder in there, it starts to rub across my shoulders. And maybe I've just got some freaky anatomy, but it is always rubbed. And so by mile 30, like I was starting to get sore spots on my shoulders. And by mile 70, I had to ditch the bladder because I was in danger of not being able to finish, of rubbing my shoulders raw and not even being able to run. And so I ended up getting dehydrated at the end of the race because I could only carry a liter of water with my soft flask. I had to ditch the hydration bladder. And, it could have been disastrous. I finished and, I actually finished well, but I was dehydrated at the end. And so I was like, and I've had issues with water bladders before. Like I just do not like running with them. I never know how much fluid I'm getting in. You can't see them. Do I need to refill it? I'm about out. I put markings on there to try and mark the bladder that I had. So I kind of knew where I wanted to fill things with water and then mix my solution. But it just didn't work. I've had, with my Goo Roctane, I've put it in the bladder before because I could carry more fluid in there and just had, water electrolytes in the soft flask. But they ended up, in the hose, the powder ended up getting clogged in there because I couldn't mix it up very well, couldn't shake it. And and these things are a bugger to clean. You've got this big bladder that you have to scrub out really well. Trying to get it to dry without getting moldy is kind of an issue. But then you've got the stinking tube. And if you run anything besides water in here, you have to buy these little, special pipettes and, clean it out. And it's just, I don't know. I don't want to deal with that. And so I was looking for a solution that was bottle-based instead of bladder-based. And I found Orange Quiver. And I'll tell you what, this pack for me is amazing. And I'm going to go over the 5 top reasons and why I like it. I'll also discuss, some of the things that I guess might bother some people. They don't bother me, but everybody's different. But number one, there is no bladder. And so this thing is made inside these quivers, hence the HydroQuiver. It's made to take 23-ounce water bottles. And so those just slip right in there. And they're awesome. Like I can be running down the trail. I just reach over my back, grab a bottle, squirt some water in, slip it right back. It's super easy to get these in and out. It is not difficult at all. You just pull it out with one hand, put it right back in. I've never had an issue with, missing the quiver, having these fall out. I've done burpees in this pack. And doing burpees, these things do not go anywhere. Like, these things stay. Unless you plan on doing cartwheels down the hill, or if you're really accident prone, I guess a bottle might fly out if you did 3 somersaults down the trail. But at that point, you're probably not going to be so much worried about your water as, not breaking something. But I love these bottles. But the other thing is on the front, it's got two pouches here that you could also use for hydration. So here's another, 21, 23 ounce water bottle. And it can slip into this pouch. It's a bit snug, but I mean, that's what you want. And it does fit. And so you could fit 2 more 23 ounce bottles in the front of this pack. And I mean, you can carry gobs of fluid, nearly 3 liters there. And if that's not enough, I've got a little additional pouch that I use to carry my equipment in. But out of the box, it actually doesn't have this pouch here. This space is empty. And it's got this cinch cord that you can use. And you can use it to tie down jackets, loose clothing, whatever you want to pack in there. But if you didn't have this pack in the middle, you could stick another water bottle in here. So you could have 5 water bottles on this pack. I mean, I don't know anyone that would need more than that. If you need more water than that, then you probably need a rucksack because you're doing like a through hike or something. But this holds the water for me, and on the runs that I've had it on, it has been exactly what I've been looking for in my running career, is to get rid of that stupid hydration bladder, gets rid of the crap that rubs on my shoulders, and gets these bottles in there. Some people, I guess a possible negative is, when you've got a bottle, when these things start to get empty, the water is going to slosh, and because it does sit on your back, these bottles are going to be fairly close to your ears. I'll put it on real quick just to show you how it looks. But with this thing in place, let me get these sorted here. But unless you're trying to hit it, I don't know who runs around the race with their head up in the air like that. But even, hat on backwards, these bottles don't hit my hat. And I don't know if I've got a giraffe neck. I've seen other people post issues with this bumping against things. I've never had a problem with it. And I'm 5'8"-ish. I have little T-Rex arms, but I never have any problem getting these things out and then just slipping them right back into the quivers, right? No look, it's not hard. It works great for me. But those are fairly close to your ears, and so when these things do move, they can slosh. I live in Colorado, and I run with a bear bell on my back, and so I can run 100 miles with a bear bell. The sloshing water doesn't bother me. Some people, if there's some repetitive noise in their ear, I guess it could bother you, but, take it for what it's worth. Doesn't bother me at all. But that's the number one thing, is hydration. This has been the perfect hydration solution for me. Number 2 is the fit. If you'll notice, this only goes across the upper chest. It doesn't even go below my shoulder blades. The bottom of this pack on the back sits on my shoulder blades. So there's all this open space right here, down in the small of my back, that is not covered by a pack. All of my other packs I've ever had go down to almost to the bottom ribs. We're talking go down to the 10th rib space. So you've got these packs that cover a larger area, and some people like that tightness there. But for me, I've always found that once I get beyond 20 miles or so, it's hard for me to get a good deep breath with those packs on. It's like I'm fighting the pack to get my lungs inflated. And any of you that know much about medical terminology, I've fought with what's called atelectasis. And what that is if you're not getting deep breaths, the air doesn't get all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, and so those little air sacs start to collapse. And what happens is it's hard to get a deep breath, and so when I finally do, and those air pockets start to pop open in the lungs, it makes me cough like crazy, and it takes 2 or 3 minutes to feel like I'm getting air. It's really uncomfortable for me to breathe like that, and after a while it just happens, start to kind of slowly take more shallow breaths, and we're back to square one. And doing that for 100 miles is definitely not ideal. It is uncomfortable, and it can cause issues with breathing. I also have exercise-induced asthma, and so for me, breathing is a big deal. I need to be able to breathe. With the HydroQuiver Vest Pack 2 on, I can breathe so much more freely. The first run, it felt amazing. I was like, man, I feel like I can finally breathe and run at the same time again. And so for me, that's been a game changer. Those are the 2 huge things that are really big takeaways for me and what makes this pack so amazing. So, number 3, storage. I've run with the Norvin 14 for a long time thinking, I can carry everything I could possibly want in there. And I have, and I've had a pack that weighs, 8 to 10 pounds, and it sucks to run a really long ways with that. So I found that, I don't need everything in the kitchen sink in my pack anymore. But this fits everything that I want. I do have the additional storage bag that you can buy. I think it's like $20 or something like that. You can almost find a discount code at, anywhere online for Orange Mud products. But anyways, like inside of this little pack is where I keep my rain jacket. I've got rain mitts in here, my backup headlamp, my mini first aid kit. And if you want to click up the link to the video up here, I talk about what I pack for an ultra. And between this and the other pockets, I've got everything I could possibly need to pack in this. So I keep my emergency blanket and a spare emergency goo in this pocket. When I go for runs, I'll keep my wallet in here on this side. These are, let me put it back on and show you real quick, just so you can see what it looks like. But it's made to have all the storage up in the front, which makes it super easy to access everything. So you've got these little flip down straps. You've got shoulder packets, and these things fit a lot of stuff. They may look small, but they're stretchy and elastic material, very high quality, which is another selling point for these packs. But I've got my emergency blanket. I used my emergency goo today on my run, so it's empty right now. I need to replace that. But this Velcro, like, stuff stays. I've got a little metal wallet that weighs quite a bit. It has never even come close to falling out of this. But just to show you how much space these things have. So this is, the iPhone 11, the larger size screen, with, a big plastic protective case on there. And this whole thing will fit inside of this shoulder pocket, all right? So, you can really fit a lot of stuff right here, super easy to access right there with your hands. And then again, on these front pockets, like this is where I usually keep my phone because it's just right there. It's more comfortable. This is kind of hard and a little bit big, so I can kind of feel it there. But you could fit stuff like that, but I would put soft things in here. You could probably fit a rain jacket in there. Haven't tried, but you probably could. But if you need more water, water bottles, whatever, soft flash, you can put them all in here. I use this one as a trash. This is actually the goo wrapper I had earlier. But it's got more than enough storage for what I need. And again, I'm doing, super long runs, ultras. Like this is what I'm going to use for the Cactus Rose 100 that's coming up. And it's all I'm going to use. And I think it's going to be a fantastic pack. So that's 3. Tons of storage, everything I could possibly want. Again, you might need something if you don't have the additional bag, but it does have that cinch, strap on the back that you can use to put, a jacket, rain jacket, whatever back there, an extra water bottle. And so, coming standard as is should be fine for most people. Number 4 selling point is heat retention. Because this thing has such a small footprint, and it actually takes a while to get used to that because I'm used to such big bulky packs, even though they fit well, it just feels like there's so much open space. I feel like I'm running free again. It's an incredible feeling, but it just feels so different. But because it has such a small footprint, your whole back isn't getting hot and sweaty, so it's easier to stay cool in the heat, which is, the nemesis of most runners. Again, it barely hits the bottom of my shoulder blade, and I'm a little guy. So if you got someone that's taller, this is probably barely even going to go, probably not even going to go all the way down to the shoulder blade there. But because of the small footprint, it really allows for air to circulate around, and you don't have something that's trapping heat against your back. And then number 5 is durability. This material is super high quality. Like it's thicker, it's tougher. I can feel just the way when I run with it, like nothing feels like it's going to break, snap. There aren't like little small parts that can pull off. I've had other packs that over time, the stitching comes undone. Little straps that you use to help hold the water bottles down end up kind of ripping, coming off. I can see this pack lasting for years, and I would be happy to run with this for years. The cost is about the same as most other packs. I think it's right around $135. If you get any sort of high quality hydration vest, that's about what most of them are going to run. Again, if you look online, you can usually find like a 10 to 15% off code, or if you sign up for the Orange Mud newsletter, you can get a code. I think it's for 10% off. And so, you can drop that down even a little bit more. But for me, this pack has been perfect. It's exactly what I've been looking for, not realizing it was what I was looking for at the time. In terms of fit, it does also have straps across the front. It's got like one side strap on each side. It's got little hooks that keep the straps in place. So when you cinch that down, you don't have flaps or straps flapping around. But then it's got 2 elastic straps on the front that just clip in. And for me, I mean, it just fits perfectly. It doesn't, it doesn't bounce up and down. It doesn't slide around. It fits just perfect. Again, I'm a little guy. I mean, I've almost got it cinched down all the way. If you're really petite, I weigh right about 140, 145 pounds. Not super broad chested. I've heard women say that have larger chest sizes in the front that it can be a little uncomfortable. I haven't had to deal with that. I can't speak for that, but for me, this pack is amazing. It can really adjust. These straps can really flex. So when you're breathing or moving, the pack kind of flexes with your body, but it sits like a glove. I mean, it is a phenomenal pack, and I absolutely love running with this thing. And it does, just in case you're wondering, it does have a little built-in whistle. I've talked about that in the other video about, the 10 essential items for running, trail running, ultra running. Having an emergency whistle, it's built into the pack. You don't have to worry about forgetting it again. If it does get loose, I mean, you cinch it right down. I've never had these get loose. These do a little bit after time, but it's super easy to fix. But this for me is a perfect pack. It's the best pack I've ever found for the way that I like to run. If you're in love with hydration bladders, this obviously this model isn't for you. There are Orange Mud does make a lot of other models that you could use that do use hydration bladders. I wanted to go bladderless. I love the bottles. And someone had mentioned that, pulling these things out and pulling the water bottles out and sheathing them feels like you're pulling and sheathing your sword. And I'm kind of nerdy like that. Like, it does feel like that, but it feels really cool to flip this out, take a sip, and just slip that right back in the bag. And it's, and you're good to go. So I love this pack. Give Orange Mud a try. You've got a 30-day money back guarantee. If you don't like it, just return it and they will give you your money back. So can't ask for more than that. US based company, amazing pack. Give Orange Mud a try. And cowboys and cowgirls, get out there, hit the trails, be safe, and cowboy up.